Once upon a time, on the far edge of the Montana ranges, where the wind carried both dust and memories, rancher Cole Maddox lived a life carved out of silence. Ever since his wife Lila passed 3 winters ago, the house felt too big, the coffee too bitter, and the nights too long. The only sound that seemed to comfort him anymore was the slow, steady breathing of his old chestnut horse, Rowan, who had carried him through storms, cattle drives, and heartbreak alike. Cole didn't speak much these days, and the townsfolk learned not to ask. They simply nodded kindly when he walked into the general store, his hat low, his shoulders a little heavier than before. Life for him had become a quiet routine, predictable as the sunrise, till the dawn that changed everything. It began on a frosty morning when he saddled Rowan to ride out to the north pasture. The sky was still gray, the world quiet enough that he could hear the crunch of frost beneath his boots. But as he approached the barn, he heard something else, soft breathing. Too soft to belong to Rowan, and far too delicate to be any ranch hand. He slowed, instinctively placing a hand on the handle of the lantern. When he turned the corner into the lean-to where Rowan slept, he froze. There, curled against the horse's warm flank, was a woman. Young, no older than her late 20s, if he had to guess. Her dark hair was tangled, her clothes torn at the shoulder, her face streaked with dirt as though she had run through woods or crawled through fields. Rohan, gentle creature that he was, stood perfectly still as if guarding her. It looked as though she had collapsed there sometime during the night, seeking warmth in the only shelter she could find. Cole's first thought was trespasser. His second was danger. But the third, the one he hated himself for, was compassion. There was something about the way she clung to Rowan's mane, as though it was the only thing anchoring her to the world. He stepped closer, careful not to startle her. Just as he reached down to gently shake her shoulder, she stirred on her own. Her eyelashes fluttered. And then she whispered, a name he had not heard spoken aloud by another human being in years. Lila. His breath left him in a sharp rush. Of all the names in the world, why that one? He stumbled back, his heart thundering as though someone had struck him. The woman's eyes opened slowly, confused and frightened. Cole stared at her, unable to speak, his mind racing through 100 explanations and finding none. Who are you? His voice came out hoarse. She flinched, pushing herself upright, her back hitting the wooden beam behind her. Rowan nudged her shoulder protectively, which only deepened Cole's confusion. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to trespass. I just needed somewhere to rest. Is that name he managed to say. Why did you say that name? She blinked at him, dazed. I don't know. I must have been dreaming. But Cole wasn't convinced. The way she said it, soft and aching, was the way he used to whisper it in the dark when no one else could hear. He took a breath and forced himself to calm down. Come inside, he said finally. It's too cold out here. She hesitated, glancing down at her torn clothes. He took off his coat and draped it over her shoulders without another word. Inside the kitchen, she sat at the table while he warmed a pot of water. The silence between them was heavy, but not hostile. When he finally sat down, he looked at her properly for the first time. Her eyes were a deep green, haunted, but strong. Her hands trembled slightly as she wrapped them around the mug he offered her. My name's Cole Maddox, he said. This is my ranch. She nodded. I'm Mara Ellison. He studied her. You in trouble? Her eyes flickered with something fear, pain, maybe both. She nodded slowly. My husband passed away 2 months ago. Ever since the funeral, his brother. He's been trying to take everything from me. Our land, the small house Daniel left me, even the money people donated to help me. I tried to fight it, but he's powerful in our town. The sheriff listens to him. I finally ran. I didn't know where else to go. Cole leaned back, absorbing her words. A young widow, hunted by her own family. No wonder she looked exhausted. But one thing still gnawed at him. How'd you end up here? My ranch is a long way from town. I just kept walking, she said softly. I saw the barn lights. I thought if I could just rest a few hours. I didn't realize I'd end up beside your horse. her cheeks flushed in embarrassment. Cole almost smiled. Rowan seems to have taken a liking to you. He's gentle, she said, glancing out the window where Rowan grazed. He reminded me of Daniel's horse. I guess that's why I dreamed of Lila. He stiffened. You don't know my wife? No, she said quickly. I don't know anyone named Leela, but sometimes when I'm exhausted, names slip out. They don't always belong to people I know. Maybe it was yours. Or maybe it was just the sound of safety. Cole didn't know what to say to that. Safety was something he hadn't felt in years. For the next few days, Mara stayed on the ranch. She helped with chores, moving with a quiet determination, like someone who had worked hard her whole life. She cooked dinner on the nights Cole couldn't bring himself to. She laughed softly when Rowan nudged her pockets for apples. Slowly, the house began to fill with small sounds against footsteps. Humming, clatter of pan sounds that Cole had almost forgotten could feel comforting. But trouble wasn't far behind. On the fourth evening, just as the sun dipped low, a truck pulled into the driveway. Cole saw it from the porch. The man who stepped out was large, red-faced, and mean-looking, the kind of person whose presence soured the air around him. Mara froze on the steps behind Cole. That him? Cole murmured without turning. She nodded. The man stomped forward. I'm looking for my brother's widow, he announced. She's been running from legal responsibilities, and I hear she came this way. Cole's jaw tightened. No one's running from anything on my land. That's so? The man sneered. Law says she belongs with family. She's not property. She's trouble, the man shot back. She took money that wasn't hers. She abandoned responsibilities. You're lying, Mara finally said, her voice steady despite the tremble in her hands. Everything Daniel left me, you tried to take. The sheriff knows it. The whole town knows it. I left because you threatened me. Her brother-in-law scowled. You think this rancher's going to protect you? You think he cares? Cole stepped forward with a calmness that only old grief could forge. She's staying here, and if you take one more step, you'll regret it. There was something in Cole's eyes, something deeply wounded, deeply fierce that made the man falter. He spat on the dirt and turned back to his truck. This isn't over, he snarled. As the truck roared away, Mara sagged, her knees threatening to give. Cole caught her gently. You're safe here, he said. Why? She whispered. Why help me? He looked at her for a long moment. Because once someone I loved needed help, and I couldn't give it to her. I won't make that mistake twice. Over the following weeks, Mara slowly found her strength again. She learned to ride Rowan. She fixed a broken fence that Cole had ignored for months. She planted flowers outside the kitchen window, bringing color to a ranch that had forgotten what color felt like. And little by little, the weight on Cole's chest began to lift. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the stars emerge, Mara spoke softly. I think I know why I said her name that day. Cole looked at her. I think your wife was a part of your home, she said. And I think when I found shelter here, real shelter, my heart borrowed her name. Maybe it was just instinct. Maybe it was gratitude. But I didn't mean to hurt you. He shook his head. You didn't hurt me. You just surprised me. Do you still miss her? Mara asked gently. Every day, he said honestly. But missing her doesn't mean I can't feel something else too. Something new. Mara's breath caught. Something like what? He turned to her, the porch light catching the softness in his eyes. Like hope. For the first time in years, Cole felt warmth spread through him, warmth not from a memory, but from the present. From the woman sitting beside him, who had whispered his wife's name only to bring him back to life. Mara reached for his hand. Hesitating only a moment before their fingers intertwined, it felt natural. It felt right, and as the stars glittered above them and Rowan dozed peacefully in the barn, Cole realized something he hadn't dared believe. Healing didn't mean forgetting. Sometimes it meant finding someone broken in the same places, and choosing to heal together. And in that quiet, tender moment, he understood that Mara's arrival wasn't an accident, it was a beginning.